Hey, welcome to the second episode of the SaaS Growth School with Ugi Djuric. I'm your host, Ugi, and today I want to speak with you about uh, a famous dilemma for SaaS founders, whether to continue going bootstrapped or to raise funds. So, for the context, during the past couple of years, I worked with 20 plus companies, helped each one of them get millions in annual recurring revenue through different strategies, especially with content marketing. And I worked with both bootstrapped and the funded companies who raised the seed rounds, Series A rounds, and the pre-seed rounds. And the main difference, actually, at the end of the day, comes to the what kind of solution do you have to offer to the market, right? And why do I say that? Well, if you're really going to disrupt a market category, like for example something that Canva did or something that Zoom did, for example, then you need to have a funding. Then you will need to have a huge budgets and huge resources for marketing, for really hyper-fast development and improving the product, etc. But at the end of the day, on the other hand, if you're really trying to solve a specific issue for a specific group of people inside one existing market, then funding is not something that you necessarily need. For example, I spent almost 2 years working at Lemlist as a head of content, and during that time, we brought Lemlist from 0 to 3 million in annual recurring revenue, fully bootstrapped. After I left the company, they pretty quickly, in less than a year, grew the company from 3 millions to $10 million in annual recurring revenue, still bootstrapped. And what Lemlist did, they just saw the room in the market for improvement. So Lemlist is an cold email outreach software, and they realized that many similar products in the market that they could implement the same solutions but better, right, than what the other competitors are doing. And they didn't need the funding for that. Of course, having the funding will probably fasten their growth, but at the end of the day, they would lose a large stake in the company. And right now, their company is valued at over 200 millions, if I'm not wrong, and the founders, I think, still have the majority of the company. They're still the majority owners of the company, right? So at the end of the day, everything comes down to the pros and cons. So the pros of going bootstrapped is that you take the full ownership of the company. There is no one above you who will dictate what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do. And at the end of the day, you are forced to build since you're bootstrapped, you will build a solution that your customers will love. VCs and advisors and the other people will not force you to ruin your product or introduce some unnecessary features just that you can quickly grow your revenue, but at the same time making your users angrier or going away from your original story and your original market. On the other hand, the cons of going bootstrapped is that, especially at the beginning, like every dollar matters, and you're not going to have resources for everything. So the majority of things that you're going to, that you will do, that you need to do, you will do it yourself, and your team will do it themselves. But on the other side, when it comes to raising a funding, the biggest pros are, first off, that you will have money to spend. The second pro is that you will get, if you raise the funds wisely, of course, you will have advisors who already have connections in your market and who already have some really deep expertise in it. That will help your company grow more. But on the other hand, you are not the only owner of the company anymore. You will have to report back to your VCs all the time. They will probably be micromanaging you, telling you what to do. You won't have that level of freedom as you have when you're bootstrapped. And at the end of the day, I know many stories where companies where founders or where actually VCs ruined the products themselves by focusing on the things that didn't matter for the end user at that time and not understanding the users at all. So at the end of the day, if you're going to disrupt an existing market, or if you're entering some new category as a first adopter, second adopter, doesn't matter, then you will need a budget for that if you want to win long term. But if you're trying to solve some specific problems for specific groups of people, then it's always better to keep the full ownership of the company and grow at a really great pace, right? And grow your company to 1 to 5 million ARR in 2, 3, or 4 years, than to grow them to like 5 million ARR in a year for the sake of bad user experience and less ownership in the company and so on. So at the end of the day, everything comes down to what you want to do and what you want to achieve in the next 5 of 10 years. But remember, even if you start Bootstrap, and if you grow the company towards to like 2, 3, 5 million, even $10 million in recurring revenue, you can still raise funds. And remember that the best funds are raised when the VCs are chasing you, not otherwise. So if you're chasing VCs, you probably will not end up as satisfied as you were expecting to be. So, yep, that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments.